Come on.
I was walking down a dirt road, and the night was coming on fast. I had gone to buy some cornmeal, so I was supper.
Whoa. Okay. We're going to make a video. We're going to make a vinyl video. It's stormy out. It's windy out. It's treacherous out. Be careful if you're out there. Stay home. Make some chili. Make some beef stew. Pop in a movie. Cozy up. Okay. Did an earlier video of the concert I went to last night, Lucinda Williams at the Norfolk Nova, so make sure you watch it on my music page. But got a backlog of albums that I got to make a video for because I have to library them. So I want to do that today, which we're going to do right now. We got about 5 or 6 genres of music, types of music, which I got organized right now, and we're going to get to the first one. The trend in popular music of recent years is for veteran artists to make what they call a standard album, an album of classics from the great American songbooks. Rod Stewart has a series of those. Paul McCartney did one, and there have been numerous other artists I'm not going to mention, but the guy who really started this trend some years back, 1978, is... That's right, Willie Nelson with this 1978 release, Stardust. Tracks Stardust, Georgia on My Mind, which gets radio play, Blue Sky, All of Me, Unchained Melody, September Song, On the Sunny Side of the Street, Moonlight in Vermont, Don't Get Around Much Anymore is the one to watch over me. This is a very good minimalistic album. You listen to, you just chill out, and Willie will put you in a good mood. Okay, the next one. This artist who has since passed on. He passed on in the mid-70s, and he had a lot of personal problems, mainly drinking. Lefty Frizzell, greatest hits. And he was very popular in the 50s and somewhat in the 60s, but he had ups and downs in his career. But people like Merle Haggard was very influenced by Lefty Frizzell, and he had the big song called Seger, Michigan. Does a wonderful job of If You Got the Money, I Got the Time. And this is a very good album, a collection, and it's an old album that's on the Columbia label. It's in mono, so it has some age on it. Lefty Frizzell. Next one is artist who was a country artist, a newer guy who was very popular in the 80s, but mid-80s, later part of the 80s, but you don't hear from him much anymore. He's kind of faded, and the new crop of modern country artists come along. Tim McGraw and all those people I don't listen to. But I like this artist here, and he had the big hit Swinging, and that's John Anderson. Greatest hits. Swinging, and another hit, I'm Just an Old Chunk of Coal, but I'm Gonna Be a Diamond Someday. And Black Sheep, good album, nice, mellow, fun. I enjoyed it. And I think I got a sneeze coming on. I might want to get that out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excuse me, allergies. This next artist is definitely old school country and western. My father loved and my mom hated because he was just too damn country. And when you see this album cover, you know it's the real deal country music, and that's Ernest Tubb. Yes, sir. Yes, sirree. And this is actually a European pressing because it has that glossy cover. It's thin. The vinyl is thick. It's on the Brunswick label. And excellent liner notes and a little description about each of the songs. So happy to have that, and it plays great. The Decca Record Company Limited, London, England. That was the record company that turned down the Beatles. But hey, they had Ernest and the Stones later. The Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. They had an album, a double album, which was they brought in all these old school veteran country artists and bluegrass artists, the Carter family, the Earl Scruggs, the list goes on, and had an album called, a double album called Will the Circle Be Unbroken. You might have seen it in the record stores. It has a picture of a Union general in the middle, the bearded and all around it, the people who play on it, and it has become a classic. It wasn't a big hit on the charts. I think it only charted like 94, but has gone on and had developed a big following. Well, this is a follow-up right here, and it's called Will the Circle Be Unbroken 2. And a lot of the return players who was on that first album here, and Roy Acuff, the Carter family, Johnny Cash, June Carter Cash, Roseanne Cash, the Cash family, John Denver, Emily Lou Harris, Levon Helms, John Hyatt, Chris Hillman, Bruce Hornsby, a local guy, Roger McGuinn, the Byrds, Michael Martin Murphy, John Prime, Earl Scruggs, Ricky Skaggs. This is a double LP, and the inner sleeve has wonderful pictures of the sessions and who's played on what and who produced, all the credits and all that, and a bit of liner notes. And the vinyl itself is in great condition, like new. And it sounds great. The only thing about this, the volume, part 2, volume 2, is the material is a little bit more gospel than the first one. So happy to have that in collection. I listened to that this morning. Nice Sunday listen to. Kind of ending out with the country music is Marty Robbins, who had the big hit with El Paso. Everybody loves that song. Well, it's from an album called Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs here. And if you like El Paso, you'll love this album because it's along the same veins of the Old West, the gunfights, being out on the plains, or driving cattle across the country, disputes, fights, women issue, rivalries, a gunfight over a woman, and this is just incredible listen. So if you ever have a get this on CD, you can find a lot of where they sell used CDs pretty cheap. Good liner notes on back. Well, Marty Robbins followed it up with another album called more Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs right here. So, I picked this one up some time ago. This is the follow-up, which I just picked up, and liner notes, a great picture. And while this didn't have any big radio hits, I think it's just as fine an album as the first one. It does have Streets of Laredo, Five Brothers, Lou Joe the Wrangler, Ride Cowboy Ride. These are like blood-soaked ballads. Most of the tracks, somebody dies. The singer that takes the narrative of the person who gets a bullet in them and their last thoughts before they die. Incredible hypnotic music. You listen, it's beautiful. Okay, Southern Rock, the Allman Brothers Band. Brothers and sisters. Although they did have better albums previously, this was their most commercially successful, largely to two songs, Ramblin' Man and Jessica. Gatefold there, and the whole Allman Brothers, and I guess family members, crew, maybe some roadies. When I listened to this album, they just lost Dwayne, and they lost their bass player. And you listen to it, and it has the music. I don't think has quite the energy. They were in mourning, but it really catches fire with the two big hits, Rambling Man and Jessica. But it's a good album. I enjoyed it. Always liked the cover. And, another classic Southern rock band is the Marshall Tucker Band. This is their second album, A New Life. Good album, good listen to. And the radio hit from here was 24 Hours at a Time. Moving to the rock music, the Steve Miller Band, 21st Century, I think this is called. Yeah, Living in the 21st Century. And I always thought Steve Miller had lousy album covers. I mean, I hate the artwork to this. This came out in 1986, about the time he just reached his commercial peak with Fly Like an Eagle, Books of Dreams, Abracadabra. It had one song that got radio play, I Want to Make the World Go Around, which could have been on Fly Like an Eagle. I wish he took that song and just made a better record, but a lot of blues covers, some original. I mean, it's okay, worth a listen to every now and then. Now Steve Miller seems to be an oldies act. I hate to say that. He did release one album some years back of all blues standards, which was very good. I wish he would record newer material of his own. Randy Newman and All Those Short Peoples, a song that caused quite a stir, but if you really listen to it, he's making a point about prejudice and how stupid it is through using short people. A lot of famous session players were on this. Whitey Whittle, Wachtel, who currently has recorded and toured with Keith Richards. Klaus Foreman, very related to the Beatles fame. Jim Kilder, who's done drumming on for a lot of artists. Willie Winks, who recorded with George Harrison. A lot of session players on this, and also Joe Walsh, Glenn Frey is on this album too. Randy Newman's most successful album. Okay, the artist that we opened up with. This is a promotional radio copy, not for resale, Warner Brothers radio station service, and it has that sticker indicating it. This is Tony Joe White. I wish the sticker had been on back, but that's alright. Beautiful condition, both vinyl and there he is. He's got those period sideburns and the clothing, Tony Joe White had that big hit, Polk Sally Anna, and recorded this album soon after with using producer Peter Asher of Peter and Gordon fame. And Peter Asher was also a famous record producer who produced the early James Taylor albums and Linda Ronstadt and numerous other projects. And I think they brought Peter in to try to make Tony Joe White like the next James Taylor. But very good album, bluesy, funky, storytelling. The musicalship is great. Happy to find this at the thrift store. Excellent condition, vinyl and cover, gatefold. Cool. Oh, by the way, Tony Joe White did some noted work on Lucinda Williams' last album, Where the Spirit Meet the Bone, so I enjoyed that. Moving on. A little promotional album of various artists from Warner Brothers. So what this is, and it has information in there, is Warner Brothers took artists that was on their label, put together a sampling, and people, they have the who's who on this cover. So you have people like James and Dash Croft, Seals and Croft, Todd Rundgren, Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald, Emily Lou Harris, John Sebastian, Maria Muldahl, Elvis Bishop, Mary and Leon Russell, The Four Seasons. So all those artists and other people too who really didn't make it to household names. Warner Brothers put this collection together. It's all right. It's okay. It's a good listen to. But what really attracted me was the cover, the artwork, the illustrations of all these artists, and the good information inside. And it's a double album. So happy to have it. This artist was very big. He's still big. Released a couple of really good albums in the last 5 years. But in the late 80s and the 90s, his musical taste changed. His popularity waned a little bit on the charts, but he's still a very noted and respected artist. And I'm speaking of Bob Seger, Like a Rock. This Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, Like a Rock. It had two noted hits on it, Like a Rock and what was the other one? Like American Storm. This album was okay, some good moments here and there, but I think the formula was starting to run thin a little bit. He's done better albums after this one, but happy to have it in the collection. Okay, here's a guilty pleasure, and don't think any less of me, but in the area of top 40 pop in the 70s and a little bit into the early 80s, this was not a cool artist for somebody my age at that time to have, but it's a little guilty pleasure, and this is the only album I need from them. And I'm speaking of the Captain and Tennille's Greatest Hits. I always loved the song Love Will Keep Us Together. Great top 40. And a number of other hits, Shop Around, Coming from the Rain, Lonely Nights. So, covers in great condition. The Captain and Tennille. So this will be the only Captain Tennille album I will ever own. The hits. That's all I need. Got my share of the Captain Tennille. This next artist, group, trio, 3 people. America, Homecoming. And the vinyls and the covers in such great shape. I think this is like their second album after the big massive hit, A Horse with No Name. Gatefold there, double, triple gatefold. And the vinyl's in excellent condition. The big hit from this album, the whole album's good, very enjoyable. Where are the titles? Oh, okay. Venture Highway was the big hit, which I love. So, very, just a good album. But Venture Highways was the one that got the radio play. Happy to find that for $1.50. Okay. Another artist, the acoustic pop, folk, is this album by John Denver. This doesn't contain any of his big hits. I'm just looking to make sure, but it came out 1971. And that was about the time Country Roads, Take Me Home was a big hit, but that song's not on this album. And he was an up-and-coming artist, and I've since got a number of his albums from thrift stores as he was up-and-coming, and after his commercial heyday. I found them all enjoyable. And this is one after the commercial heyday called Autograph. It's a very good album, and the last of his albums that we think of John Denver's music before he did some experimentation. This came out in 1980, Autograph, 1971, so 10 years apart. I know it's kind of corny to like John Denver. He's not, hip. But I don't care. I go by the music. Okay, winding down, in the area of progressive rock, we have Rick Wakeman, who is a member of Yes, and his album, The Myth and Legends of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Some heavy stuff there. And trying to find out when this was released. 1975. Projects after he left Yes. This album here, it's a soundtrack to a famous movie, and every time I see it at the thrift store, it's always beat up in bad condition, but I found one that was still in the shrink wrap, that was in perfect condition, and I'm talking about the soundtrack to Midnight Cowboy, and it still has the torn off where the price was. And it had the famous song by Harry Nelson, Everyone's Talking, and that instrumental song, Midnight Cowboy. Dun, 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 so, a lot of instrumental music, but the theme song to the Midnight Cowboy and the Harry Nelson is there. It's on the old United Artists record label, which is cool. So, glad to have that. And winding down. I don't know who this artist is, but it's on the Windham Hill Records right here. It's instrumental music by, I'm not going to mention the artist's name, I'll just show it. The vinyl was in mint condition. I thought this would be nice to listen to, and it is nice. Just some cool artwork. Released in 1984, so this is good. It's a classical guitar, recorded in May in 1983, April, May. Cool. And the last one. This is as I said in one of my videos, that the albums at thrift stores, the selection's not as good as it used to be, because I think they're bringing the good records to the independent record shops. But having said that, there's still a lot of good classical music on the major classical labels at thrift stores, and I found this one here. Vladimir Horowitz, who's a famous classical pianist. And the thing is, this was sealed in the shrink wrap. So I took, that's what attracted me to it, and because it would have been in mint condition, and it is. The only issue right here is a little wear. So I brought it, $1.49. You can't go wrong. It's on the Columbia label, and it has a little booklet that's pasted on in the inside about the artist, pictures, text. Pretty cool. And this is the first time it's seen the light of day when I unwrapped it. And it's on that really good paper stock, thick, heavy paper stock. I just love the cover, very distinctive. So, classical music, long pieces, you got to be in the mood for it where you can just lay down and listen to it. And this is a good listen. It's on the Stereo 360 sound, and it gives a description of what that's about. So that's it. Since I've done this video now, I can library this music in my vast album collection. I appreciate you listening. This video was a little long, so if you stuck with it, I appreciate that. Your comments, thumbs up are great, but comments are even better. So, vinyl community and people on my Facebook page, I want to wish you all the best. Be careful out there if you're watching this video and the storm's still going. Be safe, be kind, be cool. Bye.